Even as I charge in again against these guys Satai, and even with my general's bodyguard here, sort of adding to the morale, he's coming up on my flanks. He has spear infantry, he has armor piercing infantry. Everything's really heavy, it's hard to kill. And even though I have all these Velites coming in over here and my general's getting support, he has me pinned in here, and he has me pinned in here and here. So he has a three-sided box formed. There's one route. There's 2 routes, 3 routes, and he started a chain route with the fear infantry. The rest of these guys start to break and run, including the elites. Nothing is immune from chain routing. And now I'm concerned that I've lost. I do manage to rid this unit of Brudians, but then my Principe's route as well. One of the things I really liked about this battle is neither of us really used guard mode that much. I think he used it on his Numidian skirmishers, but I'm not going to fault him for that. It's really fun to have a battle where you don't have much guard mode using, because guard mode can be really overpowered. I do manage to route this unit of Numidian skirmishers here, which is somewhat important just because they were his only fresh unit, and you'll see why it's going to be important in just a second. But anyway, he's got his guy Satai coming over here, and he comes up against these 2 units. They're going to break in just a moment once these Iberian assault infantry get in there. And now my advantage that I had in numbers and having won the cavalry battle has been completely squashed. But I have one ace up my sleeve, and that is that he has only heavy infantry left, and I have a lot of men that were chain routed, and I still have cavalry. Gaisatai, I don't know if you count as heavy infantry, I guess they are. But they move more akin to light infantry because they're not armored. You can see the issue here. I've got some units that had reformed earlier in the battle and that I neglected in my attempt to micro the cavalry battle and the infantry battle. And so they're actually fresh. These guys are tired, they broke a little later. But I'm going to form them into a line over here, and meanwhile I have my cavalry over there. And you can see his heavy infantry is all exhausted and they're a little slow to get over. He still has this guy Satai pursuing, hoping that the fear effect would stop my men from reforming. And it does, up to a certain extent. But my general also has the eagle, as well as the general's bonus. And I keep tapping the reform button, as you can see, as many times as possible. These Hastati just managed to escape the guy Satai. They're wavering, you can see, but I managed to get them into line over here. And now I'm just going to sort of form a line here, and then put cavalry on each side, and hope that he charges straight in, hoping to break me before anybody else reforms. He does have a unit of Balearic slingers over here. He's sort of wasting their ammo, firing at routers. He brings them up a little later. But here's another thing that hurts him. I had, as you saw early in the battle, I hadn't had a single unit use their javelins besides some of the Peditas Extraordinarii and the Stati. So I still have a full complement of javelins on most of these units. And he parks his guy Satai over here to stop them from going in on alone. Really what this means is that it allows me to get a whole bunch of javelin volleys in on him. And sometimes it doesn't look like it's doing much, but these guys have 2 hit points, so sometimes volleys just take a hit point away from one of the 2 guys, and that's useful. But you can also see some kills. Not many, but it's softening them. There's a kill, there's another one. This was pretty critical, because I needed to really kill these guys Satai. Here he turns his back, and that's no good. I get a whole bunch of kills there. One of my units, Peditas Extraordinarii, reforms. And then some of my Velites reform, there's still 77 of them. This unit of Principes reforms, there's still 42 of them. And now he sees he's in trouble. And what I try to do is I still have some units that are fresh. His men are all exhausted. I don't want him to sit here with his superior infantry and freshen up. So I decided to push my advantage and charge at his guy Satai. I also try to time this with some cavalry charges so I can pin them in there. You can see, doesn't really have too much of an effect, but they are shaken, and they're definitely weakened now. He's still moving his exhausted infantry, and he didn't get a chance to rest them like I would have liked to. While my men are fresh, some of my men are exhausted too, but some of them are reserves are fresh. Finally, he brings the slingers up to fire at my cavalry. But he should probably be trying to fire at my general here and maybe get a lucky kill off on him. And now basically what's going to happen here is the exact same thing that happened to me earlier. I have my infantry on this side, I have some infantry here in the front, and then I have cavalry coming in and forming that third side of the box. Here I get a pretty good charge in, and I think that might rout one of his units if you guys saw that. Yes, it does. That was huge, because that's where it decreases the fear effect on the side. I'm not really sure how the fear effect works entirely, but if I can rout the other unit, the fear effect will be gone. You can see me trying to push it over here with my cavalry. Some more Principes reformed are coming back. This cavalry unit's coming in for a charge. They get a charge off, then it routs a unit of Iberian assault infantry, and there goes that unit of Gaissatai. And now he still has a lot of Iberian assault infantry over here. A mostly full unit, and another one about a third of the way depleted, or 2/3 of the way depleted, but I still have my cavalry charging in over and over and over again. And his men are all exhausted and they're tired, and they don't really want to fight that much longer. And you're going to see eventually one of these routes. There we go, this unit routes, that unit routes, this unit routes. And that's basically it. He's got the unit of Ballyrax in the back there, and he has this unit of Libyan heavy spearmen. But he unlike me, he can't pull back and reform. And I just basically form an infantry blob over here to rout them. Send the cavalry out to kill the slingers, and eventually these Libyans, who are very brave, will eventually cut and run. And there they go. So this was a really close battle. At one point I thought I had won because I had the infantry advantage over here, and I had killed off almost all of his cavalry as well as his general. But I made the huge mistake of not using my javelins on the Gaissatai and used them on armored infantry instead. And I also got myself boxed in, which was a mistake. So LazyO turned the tide on me. But, luckily enough, because I still had cavalry left and my general, I was able to reform my men, regroup them, kill off his Gaissatai, and win the battle. As you can see, the numbers are really close here. I had a slight man advantage. LazyO, I had about 100 more kills than he did. But a very close battle, one of the closest I've ever had, I would say. Alright, so thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some more battles.